This is one of my least favourite phrases. The most fun you can have with your clothes on, yeah? You hear this all the time. You're always seeing actors on chat shows telling you that their job is the most fun you can have with your clothes on. If you visit TripAdvisor, there is barely an activity out there that hasn't been reviewed by someone as being the most fun you can have with your clothes on. Apparently, Segway riding in Australia is the most fun you can have with your clothes on. Going go-karting in Ireland is the most fun you can have with your clothes on. All of these activities are the most fun you can have with your clothes on, and so are all of these. These are all the most fun you can have with your clothes on, and this is just the tip of the TripAdvisor iceberg. Now, to explain why this bugs me, I need to really unpick what this phrase means. When you say something is the most fun you can have with your clothes on, what you're really saying is, oh, that's really good fun. I mean, not as good as sex, but it is really good fun. That's what you mean. Now, if someone's talking about, say, skydiving, and they say, for example, that skydiving is the most fun you can have with your clothes on, what they mean is skydiving is amazing. But there is one thing more amazing than skydiving, and that thing is sex. Skydiving is my second favourite activity. My favourite is sex. That's what you're actually saying, not literally as a joke, but that is the gist of the joke. But it's become such a well-worn phrase now, it's used so widely, they've forgotten that it's a sex joke. I'll tell you what it reminds me of. I was at a wedding recently, and when the father of the bride made his speech, he referred to the mother of the groom as a MILF. Exactly. Huh? He had heard the phrase MILF used so often, he had forgotten that it was an acronym meaning mother I'd like to. He, in his head, just thought it meant an attractive older lady. That's all he was saying when he said, and Graham's mother, I'm sure we'd all agree, is a MILF of the highest order. That's what he meant. And your reaction to hearing that just then, and the way everyone at the wedding reacted when they heard it at the time, is how I react when I hear people saying that without realising that there is a sex joke in there. They're just saying it's a lot of fun. Here's an example for you, right? This is an American news broadcast speaking to a woman about a summer camp for dogs.
This one offered a full slate of activities for dog and owner.
Oh yeah, it's the most fun you can have with your clothes on.
Now, there is no way on earth she would stand there broadcasting to all of America and even in jest holding her dogs. Oh, this is great, it really is. I mean, I'd rather be having sex, but this is great, yeah, we love it. I mean, don't get me wrong, if cock had been available, I wouldn't be here, but this is a very good second best. She would never do that. She would never do that, so why is she doing that? It's all over the place, this phrase. This is on Twitter, as my farrier says. This woman's got a farrier. That's not a typo. She doesn't mean as Mo Farah says. No. She's saying, as my farrier says, horseback riding is the most fun you can have with your clothes on. But then, so is singing, #fun. And there's a picture of her riding a horse. I don't think she would ever be likely to tweet, I would rather be having sex than riding a horse, would she? But that's what she's doing. This is my favourite of them. Heads up, #sustainable haringey, #compost giveaway, October 20th, #Ali Pally. The most fun with your clothes on. See link for proof. And if you click on that link, you get a video of some old people putting bags of compost into the boots of their cars. No, I'm not saying that giving away compost isn't fun, but if you listed every human activity that is fun in order of fun, I reckon pretty much everything else on Earth falls somewhere in between giving away compost and having sex. I don't think the person who tweeted this would ever be likely to tweet, there's only one thing I enjoy more than giving away compost, and that's having sex, using that video as proof, would they? The only thing worse than people using the phrase without being aware that they're saying something sexual is when people use it and they do know what they're saying. This is the kind of thing I mean. This is an interview for a French website with the cast of the movie Inception. And the actor, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, is going to use the phrase, okay? Just focus on the way he pauses part way in.
This was just about the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, physically, and maybe the most fun I've ever had in my life, physically, with my clothes on.
I'm going to play that again, but this time I'm going to show you what I think is going on in his head during that pause, okay?
This was just about the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, physically, and maybe the most fun I've ever had in my life, physically. With my clothes on.
That's what I reckon was going on there. Oh, do you really think that this guy really means it when he says it here? For me, helping other people is the most fun I can have with my clothes on. Is helping other people really that much fun? I mean, I do help people. I don't mind helping people. A friend calls me up to ask if he can use my shredder. I'm there for it. But I'm not sure that was fun. I tried to help someone recently, and that definitely wasn't fun. What happened is, I found a camera. I was working with a bunch of friends. We were in Brighton. We were on the beach, and we found this camera just there. It was in amongst the stones. It wasn't near a bar. It wasn't near any bags. There was no way you could go with it and say, someone's lost this, and just leave it for somebody else to take care of. And the tide was coming in, and we figured if we left it, it was going to get washed away. And so we decided we had to intervene. And as a group, we decided that because of what I do for a living, I had the most social media clout, which meant that I was in the best position to try and find the camera's owner. And I'll be honest with you, my ego kind of liked that idea. Because there have been a few stories where people do this, and the person who found the camera always comes out of that story looking pretty heroic. This is the kind of thing I mean. This is a scuba diver found a camera and managed to get it back to its original owner. This is one where the camera had been dropped on Ben Nevis, and again, they got it back to them. This one is absolutely amazing. The camera was dropped in Hawaii, it washed up 6 years later in Taiwan, and it got returned to the owner who lived in Georgia. Such is the power of the internet. The trouble is, in all of these cases, the cameras were digital. So people were able to extract some photos and put those online, and it basically worked out because people recognise faces. But this is a film camera. That's a bit different. If I want to get the pictures out of that, I'm going to have to go down to Snappy Snaps and give them some money, and you can understand that initially I wasn't that keen on doing that. Not at first, anyway. I figured I'd try spreading the word first of all. So I blogged about it, and I tweeted about it, and I joined a few forums for people who found cameras. I basically spread it as much as I could, and I figured if someone recognises a camera and gets in touch, then that's all good. And if they don't, then in a couple of weeks, I will pay to develop the photos. I am prepared to go that far, $8.99, because I want to be a hero. 2 weeks go by, nobody claims the camera, and so I head down to Snappy Snaps and hand in the film. And I'll tell you what, the guy who works there was really, really friendly, very chatty. But when I went back to pick them up a couple of hours later, he wasn't so friendly. He just sort of pushed the envelope across the counter with a bit of a shrug, a bit sullen. I didn't understand what was going on. I didn't really think about it. I just took my photos and went. Now, I don't think anyone has ever left a shop with newly developed photos and waited until they get home to look at those photos, have they? Nobody ever gets more than 5 yards out of a Snappy Snaps before they've opened that envelope and have a little peek. That's what I was doing. I looked at the first photo and then I immediately put it straight back in and sealed it up and went home to look at the rest. Ladies and gentlemen, there is only one photo that I am able to show you. And even then, I have had to add a little something. What the hell is going on there? If you're watching, if you, sir, are watching and you would like to get your camera back, by all means, do get in touch. I can't work out if someone's done this on purpose or not. Has someone lost a camera with some rather sensitive photos on it? Or has someone deliberately left their camera there on purpose because they get a kick out of imagining the awkwardness in Snappy Snaps? Is this some kind of new thing? Is this long-distance flashing where you can concoct a way of showing your tackle to strangers without even being there? Basically, what I'm asking is, have I been dick-rolled? Is that what's going on here? This is ridiculous, isn't it? I mean, this is the camera. I've looked it up now. This camera is about 20 years old. You can get one on eBay for £5. It wouldn't be an expensive plot to enact, would it? I've spent $8.99 developing the photos. I've spent more money being exposed to his cock than he spent on showing it to me. Frankly, it is a shame that I'm not allowed to show you his face. If I took that top box away, you would be able to see quite how happy he is. Then again, if I took away the bottom box, you would be able to see quite how happy he is. And he should be happy. He should be happy. After all, we know that what he is doing is more fun than any of these activities. More fun than any of that. More fun than any of that.